This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition and an absolutely stressed, stunned edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and our team is the Angels. And the Angels somehow pick up a 4-3 win. Unbelievable win. Great start. Blow the lead. Take the lead back. Almost lose the lead like 10 more times after that. Unreal. Comeback win, blown game win, everything. Stunner. Angels win 4-3 against the Tampa Bay Rays. And I have to be honest right away at the beginning of this show. Some people notice I'm wearing the suit. I've got the button down here, looking kind of fresh. I am at the Intuit Dome. The Clippers game starts in 20 minutes, and I have to be out in the stadium, the actual stadium, in 20 minutes. So this show has to be done by like 7:24. So I got a real quick one here, like 13 minutes left, maybe even less, to break down this game. And of course, the Angels pick the longest game when I'm in a rush and the craziest game when I'm in a rush. But the Angels win 4-3. And if you somehow missed this one, go back and watch all the highlights, because it would take an hour to explain all of the crazy things that happened in this game. Everyone in the comment section going wild, and rightfully so, because if you don't know what happened in this one, the Angels went up 2-0 in the second inning thanks to Albert Kyren Paris, who he's simply the greatest thing ever, okay? He's the greatest thing ever. They need to start making songs for him the way they've got songs for LeBron James. Kyren, Paris. I'm talking about the man on the Angels. Kyren, like, come on, man. Unbelievable. You could tell I'm delirious right now with the crazy stuff I'm doing, but unreal. Kyren Paris, 2-run home run, top of the second inning. You're up 2-0. Kyle Hendricks dealing 5 innings. Through 5 innings, he gave up 2 hits. 2 hits. He had 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 hits scoreless for 5 innings. And Ron Washington, despite him only having, like 85 pitches or something like that, decides to take him out. I don't know why. I get it. You have your full fresh bullpen, but that doesn't mean you have to use them. And eventually it came back to bite Ron Washington, the Angels, briefly, because in the bottom of the 7th inning, after Zephyr John does have a a perfect 6th inning, 3 outs, 2 strikeouts. I know the camera's shaking here. I need to stop doing that. But in the bottom of the 7th inning, Ben Joyce gets absolutely roughed up. Like everyone was saying on Twitter or anyone watching the game, he did not have his normal velocity at all. Obviously, this guy normally throws way over 100. He's throwing 101, 102, 103, something like that. But he was throwing mid-90s, which of course is not slow. But when your number one thing is that you throw over 100 and you're throwing in the mid-90s, did not work out well at all for Ben Joyce. Gives up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, gives up the big fly, could have been even worse, and only manages 1 out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now, fortunately, McDaniels deserves a whole lot of credit. He comes in and he has to get creative, and he wasn't perfect. He had a wild pitch. He had a walk. He had a walk where he essentially was just intentionally walking the guy, just throwing the ball in the dirt and everything. But the biggest takeaway, and I'm going to start, I'm rambling, I'm losing my mind, but let's get to the turning point, because this is right about where it started. Really just resilience from the entire team, whether it's spectacular plays, Tim Anderson, Nolan Schanuel throwing a guy out at home. It's the turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I mean, I'm just all over the place because this game is hard to fathom. It really is. But the turning point has to be when McDaniels comes into this game. And it was not easy for him at all. right? But to see what happens with Ben Joyce giving up 3 runs when you have a 2-0 lead, blowing the lead, and then there's a triple, right, as well. So there's a runner on third that Ben Joyce gives up. He's able to get a ground out thanks to Tim Anderson, who makes a great play. And so there's 1 out. The runner stays at third, and in comes Garrett McDaniels. 1 out, 1 runner on third base. Obviously, a sac fly makes it 4-3 Rays, and he comes in and he gets a great play from Nolan Schanuel. That might be the single play that's the turning point. A ground ball from Jake Mangum right to Nolan Schanuel. He throws it to d'Arnaud. They're able to get Misner out at home. Amazing. From there, a wild pitch advances Magnum to second. Taylor Walls walks. Yandy Diaz walks. I mean, this game was crazy. There's walks everywhere. There's fielder's choice outs at home. But with the bases juiced, 1-2 pitch, McDaniels throws a beautiful 85.6 mile an hour slider below the knees, below the zone, swinging a miss, lefty on lefty, able to get that slider away from Brandon Lau for the strikeout to survive a bases loaded jam in the bottom of the 7th and keep the score at 3-2. And the reason that is so huge, is because of what the Angels do, right? If the Angels didn't end up doing anything and they lose this game 3-2 anyways, we're frustrated, but it is what it is. But you're able to keep it at 3-2. And how does this team respond? The same way they've responded all season long so far, and why this is a different team from last year. And it's not just because they're 7-3, right? It's not just because they have now won the first 3 series of their season and are looking good to win their 4th, but it's because of the resilience they show, whether it's in losses or in wins like these. You fall behind 3-2, you blow a 2-0 lead, but then Luis Rengifo immediately forces a walk. Jorge Soler, with 1 out, rips a double on a line drive to left field. Second and third, 1 out. How many times last year did that become strikeout, ground out, 0 runs? All the time. But Travis d'Arnaud, he does his job. And once again, we're not asking for guys at the top of the, it's one thing if guys at the top of the order are coming through. But for a guy like Travis d'Arnaud, we know he's not here for his bat, but we know he is here because he's a veteran. First and second, 1 out, and he gets the job done. This team has the balance. They can go deep. They've done it plenty of times. They did it again today with Kyren Paris. They can get a clutch double from a Jorge Soler in this inning, but they can small ball as well. Rengifo starting the inning with a walk, and the game being tied on a Travis d'Arnaud ground out that scores Luis Rengifo, right? And then it continues. The craziness continues. Bottom of the 8th inning, leadoff triple right away. Brock Burke comes in, gives up a leadoff triple. And surely, nobody out, runner on third. The Angels are going to give up a run. The Angels are going to fall behind 4-3, and the Angels are going to lose the game, and it's going to be a frustrating one, but you're going to pick up, lift your chin up, keep your head up, and win tomorrow, right? No. Leadoff triple somehow turns into strikeout. Morel gets ejected, which was hilarious. Misner gets hit by a pitch to add to insult to injury for him. He gets hurt, but to make things more chaotic, of course, you go from leadoff triple to strikeout to ejection to hit by pitch. But Brock gets the job done on a hard hit ball, 100 exit velo, right to Taylor Ward, though. The baseball gods, let's be honest, they were on the Angels side tonight as well. And then we get to the top of the 9th inning. At this point, despite all of that, despite all of the craziness I just told you, only 1 run was scored in that whole stretch after it was 3-2 Rays. And it was a run by the Angels in the top of the 8th inning. The Rays had guys on third base with less than 2 outs. They had a guy on third base to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning with nobody out and didn't score. Insane. I'm losing my mind, guys. And I got to take a break. I got to read some ads. And in 5 minutes, I got to run into a NBA arena and go do my other job. But I'm going to take my break. I'm going to read these ads. And when I come back, cliffhanger, I'm going to tell you what happened in the 9th inning because, oh yeah, there was absolutely more chaos. We'll do that after our break here on what? On the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props, from three-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Just to be clear, I don't bet the NBA. I'm not allowed to bet the NBA. I work for the NBA, so I'm making that clear in case anybody's watching. I do not bet on the NBA, period. But I do bet on other sports, and you can bet on NBA if you want, if you're in a state where it's allowed. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. And today's show is also brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Gametime gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. I use it all the time. I used it in New York. That's the example I always give. Watch any other postcast to hear that example. But take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back here live on one of the craziest editions yet of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Crazy because the Angels somehow, some way, despite going up 2-0 and then blowing the 2-run lead with 3 runs against Ben Joyce, but then getting out of a jam with the bases loaded thanks to McDaniels, then tying the game at 3, then almost blowing that by giving up a leadoff triple, striking out 2 guys in a row, hitting a guy, or that guy then gets ejected. They hit the next guy, and then they get out of that jam. And that takes us to the top of the 9th inning, where somehow, some way, the Angels take the lead, despite a strikeout from Joe Adell. Logan O'Hoppe singles. Taylor Ward grounds out, but O'Hoppe does move to second. And with 2 outs and O'Hoppe on second base, Luis Rengifo, who, is he healthy? I don't know. He was hot dogging it down the first baseline on a ground out earlier in the game, but he sure looked healthy here. He takes a 1-0 fastball up and in, and he rips it. Fly ball, able to drop. And I said ripped it jokingly. It was a 68.5 mile an hour exit velo. He bloops into center field, but it gets down. Newman scores. The Angels somehow go up 4-3. And the game still gets crazier because at this point I'm thinking, okay, surely all the craziness that has happened, the Angels somehow have a 4-3 lead heading into the bottom of the 9th. Thank God it's Kenley Jansen because he has been lights out, and I think it's going to be 1-2-3. Nope. Leadoff single, Jake Mangum. Then he steals second. Taylor Wall singles. It's first and third. Well, Wall steals second. It's second and third with nobody out. Once again, the last inning, there was a runner on third with nobody out. This inning, second and third with nobody out. Yandy Diaz hits a ground ball to Rengifo, and just like 2 innings ago, it was Shanuel home to get the lead runner. This inning, it's Rengifo home to d'Arnaud to get the lead runner. Walls gets to third. First and third now with 1 out. I'm praying for a double play, but what does Kenley Jansen do? How about strike out Brandon Lowe? Strikes out Caballero, and the Angels win the ball game and easily, in my opinion, the most impressive win of 2025. And you know what? I say that, and I already have to think there's another competitor, that being the 11-inning win against the Cardinals, the day after the 10-inning win against the Cardinals. The moral of the story is this team is for real, man. And I know the Rays are not one of the best teams in baseball, but it's how you win games. It's, in my opinion, it is harder to beat an average team in a game like this than it is to beat a good team on a night where you just have a great night and you win 8-0, right? That's not as impressive as doing something like this, in my opinion, especially for an Angels team that is what? Extremely young, and also extremely known for blowing these types of games in recent years. So for 2 reasons, it's so impressive. The Angels are not the franchise that wins these type of games. And this year they're winning it so far. And young teams are not the types of teams. Young bullpens are not the types of teams. Young players in the field making big time clutch plays. Young relievers and young hitters. It's such an impressive win. And I don't care if I'm gassing it. I don't care if I'm losing my mind. I don't care if I have to go run into an arena. But this is an insane win. I'm happy. And I have to wrap this one up because I have to go run into an NBA arena. But shout out to everybody in here. Almost 200 people in here. I know this was an absolutely crazy show for a lot of reasons, but it's kind of fitting that we get a chaotic game that's all over the place and we get a chaotic postcast. But amazing win for the Angels. They're 7-3. And I said they had to go 5-4 on this road trip, on this 9-game trip. You go 5-4, and you have to start talking about this being a serious team, right? I'm not ready to say playoffs yet, but you can say legit team. But boy, oh boy, if you keep winning all of these types of games, eventually you could say these games are lucky, and you could say eventually that these types of games are going to go against the Angels. But dang it, they've been going against the Angels for the past few seasons. How about we have a year where they go in our direction, right? And we've proven we can win games with a bunch of home runs and win 8-2 or 10-4, right? But we're also proven we can win these types of games. And boy, that is awesome. So with all that being said, I'm going to wrap this one up. I'm going to go sprint into the arena, but thanks so much to everybody. Someone said, I hope the Clippers lose. That's hilarious. Someone else says, go Spurs, go. But yes, leave a like, leave a comment. This show will be on Spotify eventually at some point tonight. Shout out to all of you. Love you all so much. We'll be back here tomorrow. We might have to do this craziness again because the Clippers play at the exact same time tomorrow, and so do the Angels. But Angels 4, Rays 3, crazy game. Halos are 7-3, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care.